is Get Valiant.
It is Get Valiant, and it is number 204. I'm Hoosier.
And I'm Josh.
What's happening? It's been a month. I mean, we're gone for a month. We're back.
Yeah, we have been gone for a while. We've had like a lot of stuff come up and slow us down and things like that. So we apologize for that part of it,
but we're here.
We are here.
We're here, and we're talking about the full lineup of books for March for Valiant, and something we haven't seen in months past is 3 brand new books. Outside of that month where we had 2 visitors get dropped. But this is 2 brand new books coming out in order type of thing. So good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
And so, if you're on here, make sure you're popping in the chat and saying what's up whether it's on live or after the fact. Like a subscribe, get to these things. And we're going to talk about Armorclads, the Harbinger, in Shadowman today with the March issues that came out. So quite a bit came out with those. And and then there's just lots of pumped up press for the year of Valiant with the new books coming out with that. So I know there's been some interviews and whatnot come out with the Book of Shadows, EXO, and what was that other big one that was coming out? Oh, Bloodshot. So pumped up for all of them.
Yeah. Sorry, just trying to do something in the background, so I'm not so talkative, so I apologize for that.
Dang.
It was kind of neat, I think it's one of the things that's kind of hard for us sometimes with doing these episodes. It's just like there's not enough stuff to do for like an hour if we only get like one book. So I'm glad that we got 3. It makes for a little bit better of a discussion, which, right now that's the full lineup,
Yep.
But, excited to actually, talk about some of these books.
Nice. Yeah, there's some good books coming out. And, I don't know the news. I didn't follow the news really much this month. There's, NFT stuff that's happening and a prequel to Armorclads, that, things like that when it's, I don't know, that stuff kind of can get me for a loop every once in a while. But, outside of that, all for having, new stuff. But I wish that they would produce that stuff to everybody, so we would be able to see that Armorclads. At least say it's going to come out in a collected edition or something at that point. It just gets frustrating.
Yeah, I hate as a reader thinking like I don't get the whole story as a dedicated fan because I don't take part in something that I don't have the privilege to do.
Mm-hmm.
The NFT stuff. I mean, it is what it is, but I just think like it's such a divisive thing within the community, and I just don't think the way to really like get people pumped up about it is to be like, hey, by the way, there's a book we put out, and if you don't support the NFT side, then there's material that you're gonna miss, And I haven't looked into this too much, so I can't. It's hard to sit there and complain a whole lot, but I'm just like, oh man, like I don't want to miss a page of any of this stuff, like.
It is. I want to get that stuff, and as much as that frustrates me, I actually jumped on to the Twitter. They had a Twitter like fan chat thing that they were doing. And once we got on, they actually gave a shout out to Get Valiant right away and Hoodoo. And I thought that was super cool that they did something like that. So that they were still like, hey, Hoodoo and Get Valiant, go check those guys out. They're talking about the books, and it was just a random Twitter stream that they were doing. So I thought that was pretty cool of them. But I do wish that we could get stuff. Yes, it is a lot of the Legends of Geomancer. It's also like the donuts that are coming out that you have to go to a con to specifically get. It is some bad idea stuff that's happening. And I think right now would be a time to not do some bad idea stuff when some are frustrated about the jumping through hoops. And then when you add the NFT items and stuff like that, that's, to me, on the same note to a degree. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's like the big problem is like let's just make things so easy. Let's just make things easy, you know. Like I feel like people are starting to be positive about the books again. And I mean, look, I've always liked the books, you know, for the most part, you know. But I do understand that I'm not like every other fan, you know. I mean, like some people
loved Rising Spirit. You had great reviews.
You know, with the exception of Rising Spirit and the last EXO and Roku, I've been pretty happy. Yeah, you know, but. I'm just saying, like, I've just heard like a lot of the old timers starting to come back and be like, oh, yeah, you know, like these new books look great. And, oh, I love these lineups that we're getting on some of these books. And they're really getting behind Colin on Shadowman. Just think, like, why do something like that where, like, people are like, they can't get it, you know? Like, not everyone can have that. So, I don't know. Hopefully, like we were saying, hopefully this stuff gets put in like a trade or a deluxe edition or something.
Yep.
But it just kind of rubs me a little bit like the wrong way too, where it's just like, come on, man, like I can't do these things, you know. And that's a problem. I mean, speaking of bad ideas, you know, it's like I can't sit there like in a pandemic and go wait 5 hours for a stupid button, you know. And like that shit kind of rubbed me the wrong way too, you know, where it's like, don't do things that make things difficult. Just be cool, you know. Like if you're a small publisher, maybe you have to do things like that. I don't know, but come on.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep. Well, sorry it rubs you the wrong way instead of the right way, because I know you like it the right way.
I love it the right way.
Right. Okay. And that's the stranger. And that's what happens. So we're going to get into some cool things there because we know, we got 3 books to talk about. You want to just jump in, kind of.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Head in. Let's kind of go within that thing there. Yeah. Oh man, we might not. Maybe we can. Hopefully, we can see these things. So go to. Oh man, Chrome has lost permission to share my screen.
Egads.
Well, we got links and we got cool things.
Oh man.
So that kind of stinks. I'm not going to get out of the chat just to do that. So unfortunately, we're not going to have some visual aids the way we normally do with some slides, but we are going to do this. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We're going to spoil the crap out of these books. What I got up first on my end is Shadowman. So
Shadowman number 7.
Number 7. This one is written by Cullen Bunn, art by John Davis. No, it's not. Why did they submit that? That's weird. In the preview thing, they have it written by John Davis Hunt here.
But Pedro Andreo.
It is Pedro Andreo, and I believe colors are still Jordi Belair. Letters by Clayton Cowell. Cover by John Davis Hunt.
Well, the interior says Pedro Andreo.
Yeah, it does. But if you look at the preview email they send for that. It gives us the wrong name.
Oh, come on, Valiant.
But Pedro Andreo, Jordi Belair, Clayton Klaus, John Davis Hunt does do the A cover. And then we got the pretty cool, what is it, The Shining, the Dan Brinton cover with Punk Bombo.
Yes,
and Christian Ward.
Again, like I feel like every time we do one of these episodes to talk about Shadowman, I could just gush all over how great these horror covers are. But as much as I actually thought number 5 that was The Thing. Like that was my favorite one until this number 7 with Punk Mambo coming through the door like Jack Nicholson.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah,
love
awesome
it.
Cover.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So. Yeah, I'm going to go for that, too. I did love the cover. I thought that was cool. I still like that John Davis Hunt's involved with the book because his art was great on those the first arc. But now we're getting into this new one, and we're really into Shadowman's Head, or we're basically only in Shadowman's Head. when it comes to any type of dialogue in this book at all. It's complete caption narrative from Jack.
Yeah, so this was kind of a weird issue, I thought personally, because the entire scope of this issue is just like Jack's inside voice, basically, kind of talking us through how the dead side is taking over the live side of things. There's just horrific things all over, and we still have Punk Mambo and the Abettors and everybody else fighting the stuff. Jack's still kind of trying to psych himself up to do it. But, it's just odd. But there was some cool things in this. It was cool to see, like Galad. Like, we see Eternal Warrior. We saw Livewire, Bloodshot.
Ninjak.
Yeah, Ninjak, Rose, Dr. Mirage, Exo. Yeah, so it was one of those it was kind of like a smaller, I kind of tie it back to Incursion. Like Incursion, when that book was kind of getting crazy and we started seeing some people pop up in that book for a couple pages. There's just like a 2-page of seeing these people, but it just reminds you, like, hey, like, it's a Shadowman book, but we also exist in a larger universe full of characters. So that was nice to see, I wish we could have seen a little bit more of them, though, personally. But it does kind of make you feel like the scope of what's going on is very grand in scale.
It definitely does. And, I think that sometimes that's good when you're publishing more books, is that you can show that in the other books. But I am glad that they are kind of making it not just an isolated event, that it is. If you're going to have Deadside kind of cover the world of the earth, you might as well make sure that you enter everything in the earth that's there, to kind of show this, because all the blights everywhere are happening, Deadside taking human form. And I always enjoy when we get Boso Kablamin involved and we actually get to hear the name. We get to see the name. We get to see kind of him and Jack kind of go at it a little bit. The thing I didn't like is I think we got to kind of whiny Jack a little bit again. Like, I don't want to be a warrior. I want to be a priest. And that kind of was like, I thought we moved past that, but we kind of, I know we're kind of doing the hero's tale of not wanting to do it and then coming out to do it. But whiny Jack is just not, it's a Jack I want to move past. And I felt like we got a little bit of him again this issue.
I totally agree with that. I kind of felt like this entire run has been like, look, he's not in that place anymore. Like, he's kind of accepted who he is, and he knows what his responsibilities are as like this person who keeps these things in check. So I did think that was kind of like a weird like step back, like I get like maybe he's never been in this big of a situation before, but it just felt like, come on, man, like we've done this before. What is even the point of having like this kind of like emotional breakdown,
right,
of sorts,
or to be like so call out, like the world doesn't need a warrior, it needs a priest. It needs a priest. I'm gonna be a priest. Like, I'm sorry, but when you say the word priest, my nose cringes, and I put my kids in their room and lock the door. It's I don't know. That's sorry for Catholicism on that, but it's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But no, the story's cool with a lot of the characters. I'm still getting that. I do think Jack does show up, that he's trying to be a little bit more like, embracing of the Shadow Loa, which is cool. That was kind of one of the things that the little trope with him that I kind of was ready to get over. And that's still moved past there. But sometimes it's just, I want to see kick-ass Jack, go to kick-ass. But I do maybe some more internal of like, this is going to be a big fight. This is why I'm trying not to fight. I'm trying to be smart about it. And I don't quite feel like we're getting that strategic element of it. But it's still, I don't know.
I like that Jack kind of got in some blows with Deadside. He cut her arm off.
That was cool.
I thought that, I was like, okay, like, it shows a little bit of vulnerability with the character and that it can, she can take damage, and maybe she doesn't quite know the scope of like what she's capable of yet.
But she grew that shit back right away too, though.
Yeah, she grew it back. Ultimately, I just think like this was just such a odd kind of like I don't know. It was just kind of like weird content, I guess, like for where we're at with the story, to have like a Jack who's not like a Shadowman, not sure of himself, only his voice. Like it didn't feel like it moved any of the other characters around too much. You know, I mean, we got to see like a cool 2-page spread of like some other characters in the Valiant universe, some of the bigger names. You know, although Shadowman is just as big, I think, you know, than as some of those. I don't know if there's an Exo Manowar day anywhere, but there was a Shadowman day in like New Orleans. So come on,
Nolans.
So,
one of the things that I think this is the reconnection of Punk Mambo and Punk Mambo and Shadowman in this issue. I don't believe that they met in the last issue, and I feel like not having this dialogue of hey, there you are, good to see you, screw you, whatever it may be, like that left a little bit, happening. Left a little bit to be desired because it is the reconnection of Punk Mambo connected, and then also bringing the abettors and Alyssa with this, and we're gonna see more. We're probably gonna see Eternal Warrior. We're gonna see Dr. Mirage eventually, and who knows, because we know the Book of Shadow kind of has them in there. So, but ultimately, move the story along, gets to the next piece, and it's preparing us for something bigger. We know that.
Yeah. So I think like score wise, I'm a little down on this one just because I did think like having a whole issue where it's just kind of Jack's narration definitely left me wanting a lot more from the story. But it was cool to see the other characters in the universe. It's cool to see Jack and Deadside mix it up. But with this one, I'm actually coming in like at about 3.5, not necessarily bad in scope of the entire story overall. I mean, like, sometimes you have to have that issue that sets up the end, that sets up the finale. But I just thought like, we've been doing such great stuff. This was a step back for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate it when we're like on the same kind of thought wave too. 3.55. I'll give it maybe or 3.45. I don't know if I'm below you or under you on this. That's horrible. But I agree with what you said, but I do think we got the highlight of this was Pedro. I do think when you slow it down and you look at the panels and see what's going on with the art and really kind of pay attention to that, it's telling a really cool story with that.
Yeah.
So in my head, I would love to see this script of some of the things that's being said within this action that's happening, because there's a lot of, underlying dialogue within that. And I think that's kind of the cool things, that it's these fight scenes that we are getting to see some really cool action that's happening. And that's what I loved about it. I did like that a lot. And I understand it just feels like a setup issue, that didn't have a whole lot into it, for lasting. But I do feel like it was I'm right there with you. So I still, it was a step back, but it wasn't like a fall off the cliff.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. And I feel like sometimes like, gosh, we get to talk about these books and I forget to talk about the artist. Like, like Pedro killed it on this issue. Like, there was great visuals throughout the book, and kind of neat to see him draw some other characters, that we don't normally see a whole lot of. It's like, oh man, what about like Pedro and Roku and Dr. Mirage and things like that? Like, come on, some good thoughts right there. So
absolutely. So we're getting more, and then we got some more product placement with the Shadowman necklace. So I did. Yeah. I got it. I like it. So it's cool. What do we got next? We got some more good stuff coming. Let me get to the right one. Let's talk about Harbinger.
Harbinger number 6.
That is, let's see if they got the names right on this, or that I got this. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing doing the writing. Robbie Rodriguez on art, Rico Renzi on colors, and Hassan Ostami Alou doing the letters. So, number 6, we got to see at the very end. Number 5, we got to see Pete run into Faith, and we get to see more of that connection of those two rekindling their connection. Um,
And I think that was a good part of this, like Faith came back because she thought it was someone kind of copying what Pete's visuals, and they get to kind of have that talk about it's him, he's back, and here's what he's doing, and here's why he's here. And I really like that. I like it, like as much as I hate sometimes people just talking. I thought that part of it was good. Like I felt like it was finally like we got like the honest Pete, who's able to kind of tell Faith like some honesty. Like he's just kind of being down to earth, and I feel like we didn't really get a whole lot of that for a long time with him. And then hey, Faith shows up there in Sayat Town, and she's pretty popular. People like her. And there's lots of callbacks to the Chris Cantwell, is that his name, or the
Chris Criswell.
Chris Criswell, that's right. I'm thinking of
Chris Criswell sucks. Yes, he does.
So that was kind of cool, and like again, like I feel like sometimes these really small moments like that call back. It's nice to have these things recognized, just to be like, okay, we know that these characters exist in a bigger universe,
Dude, Colin and Jackson kicked butt on that. May I say in this, there was lots of really respecting the prior continuity, and there was lots of call outs to some items that have happened throughout the original Harbinger run and what Valiant's produced since 2012. Like it really had some great call outs with it.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I just think sometimes we miss that, where it was like, oh, where does Bloodshot take place at? Where's EXO at? Like, where are all these things kind of working at? So we definitely know that happens, and then when you kind of think that like things couldn't go bad, the Renegade showed up, which I thought that like single image him just kind of materializing there was awesome, and. He does his thing. He takes control of Titan again and makes him kind of lose control. And then we see this the mysterious Blam guy, William. I remember his first name was William. Shoot Peter with his hand, and then like the bullet's not quite like a bloody wound, but instead it's like it looks like it's something more mental. And I can't wait to know exactly what it is he does, because it seems like it's got to be something kind of cool. I mean, so far everything's been really interesting with this title, so I'm hoping. I doubt I'm going to be let down. It's just going to be some like headache he gives him or something like that.
Yeah, I'm loving the callback. I really like you said, the dialogue and just the people talking. And I think it makes sense in this manner, because I think that's something that Faith would be doing, right? I think that's true to her character, to like, okay, talk to me. I'm pissed off at you. You're a jerk, but yet let's go flying together. I feel like that's very true to her character. And, and I do think like you're getting like Pete kind of submitting and really being it's part of the redemption story of Pete, right? It really is making amends to those that he's wounded, and some of that is letting down to folks like Faith, who had a lot of faith in Pete. And so I do dig that, and I think that's something that's needed. I think it's where the story makes sense to go to. Sayat City's pretty cool. Young Ago, you're getting a lot of these cool CC, these characters that are really doing some cool things. And like you said, it was really cool to see Renegade show up. Yes,
I do think.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I just think this is the kind of book where sometimes you need a minute to get caught up and have the characters kind of interact a little bit more. Like it's not quite as hectic as say like Shadowman, where like Shadowman, it makes you feel like it's the end of the world going on. Like something like almost biblical. Whereas here, it's like it is contained to a smaller area. But there's so much more going on in those characters' lives, Pete just has a lot of things he has to atone for, but also like, he had so many people around him that had his back that, he still hasn't reached out to and caught up with, or even like, kind of set like the precedent of what he's trying to be about. So yeah, I mean, like sometimes it's lame to be like, oh, I like it. I like that they talk. But like in this case, I'm like, yeah, they need to talk. I think like
right.
just to have like respect for the previous tales that these characters have kind of gone through.
It's like if you look at one of the biggest characters, right, is Batman, right? And to me, some of the best parts of Batman is when he's back and forth with Pennyworth, right? When he's in the Batcave, having some of these, strategic tells and like learning who he is as Bruce Wayne or managing the two. I do think sometimes within the quiet time, I think you were saying like when it's not chaotic and there's things going on, sometimes there's quiet time in it, and it is good to kind of gather that for character development, to gather, how they actually relate versus, okay, cool, something's happening all the time. Yeah, I go for that. And it's and then Pete getting shot in the head with some like, watercolor paint, and we'll see.
Something psychedelic.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and I want to see who else may show up. I want to see that there might be something else. It's always good, but it's cool that we got faith in it, because I think that those two to a core are your harbingers. You still have Chris. You still have Torque, your favorite. But
if they don't catch up, it's okay. Maybe Titan can just. Maybe next issue we get one panel where Titan steps on him. And he's just like, bye, Torque.
What's he gonna be like in a bed, not be able to do anything? Oh wait, he already is. Come on.
I don't want to be an ableist like that. He can be Torque. He can be like his tough version. I'm not looking to pick on like a person who can't defend himself. So let's make him Torque. He gets stepped on. He's done.
And Sean's on the chat saying some good things. Some viable things that make sense. It's like saying he's not digging the costume, and I really think the costume is directed towards an audience that's not necessarily us, to try to gain people in, because it's part of superhero is having that type of costume. I digged the yellow hoodie. I thought that was cool. The yellow hoodie and jeans was cool with me. What you got from the original, or the blue and white, old Harbinger vest. But
we've had two previous series to this, and Pete never really had a superhero persona to visual.
Right.
So like I understand like where someone can come from and be like, what, I don't really like that he has to have a costume or he has to have a suit. I get that because we didn't have that before. Like that is certainly a change to the character, but I don't think it's bad. As far as superhero costumes go, I think that if it was Robbie Rodriguez who designed it, I think he did a good job. It's a good visual. It's just I do understand that it kind of feels out of place because he hasn't had it before.
Yeah. And then you mentioned, and then Sean goes on, all the other characters too, some similar to like Blam or whatever. To me, like I think I was telling Josh offline that this reminds me a little bit of East of West, like just a character that you would have gotten out of that. And it's just an interesting looking take of a villain. And the weird part about it is that there's such quick little similarities to Renegade that it kind of throws you off. Like I think they need to have them a little bit more differentiated, because sometimes that take double takes and make sure like, wait, is that Blam or is that Renegade there? Just to be able to decipher them easier from page to panel. And then I think you also with Titan too. Titan's got that similar color tone to some of them too, even though he has the big eyeballs off to the side. You can't actually tell the difference, but tone wise, it's so similar. So
yeah. Overall, I thought the art was great in this. I'm liking everything with Harbinger. I know like maybe like a week or two ago, some people on our Get Valiant Facebook page were like, not digging the book, and that's fair, but I'm really digging what's going on with this. I'm real happy with it. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is a good step forward for the characters, especially for Pete.
Right,
putting Pete in a good place. So I'm gonna give this one a solid 4. I want to go a little higher, so I'm kind of like, oh, should I go higher? Should I not? And what's kind of holding me back is I want to see what your score is a little bit.
You quit giving your score.
I would even say I would go like a 4.25 on this, but
Okay, good. I'm glad you're gonna have 4.25 because I'm gonna go 4 because I don't want to be the same.
Okay. Great book. I'm loving it.
It's solid story, right? Like, it's not the worst Harbinger book we've had. It's you know, it's, I mean, again, you could always compare it to Dysart, not fair, but it's I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And it's trying to make up for some of Harbinger Wars too, which is kind of nice. And I do like seeing that they're trying to utilize some of that to, you know, make something out of it, right? To, you know, to, what's the old saying, like make lemonade out of your lemons, right? And I feel like they're trying to do that, and I see that and I appreciate that. That way it's not all just throwaway, or just forgot about, or just, you know, we just glanced over that.
I would say though, like as far as like Harbinger Wars 2 goes, I did think Pete had some cool moments there, at least, you know. I mean, I don't love it, but like, I mean, I was gonna say that's another book where I'm like, oh man, Harbinger Wars 2, I didn't love it, but we did get some cool Pete with that, you know.
Yeah, and then we see Jim in the chat saying that he wishes Pete would just take some responsibilities for his mistakes, and I feel like that's what we're getting from this. You know, he's owning up to that to Pete, or to Faith. You know, there's that image. I wish I could show it right now, but I can't have ability to. Is where he's like, you know, kind of like on his knees, and she's above him, and he's kind of like, you know, kick my ass if you want, type of thing. Like, I'll take punch. It's what I need. You know, it's I've screwed up. So I hope we continue to see that. I agree. I hope that there's continued piece to that, and he still tries to make amends, and like you said, own up to his responsibility of the crap he's done. There's still a lot to be done there. So, and sometimes, you know, with some of the unspeakables that he did in the very early days of, you know, Valiant 2012, you know, I usually think that sometimes it's not for him, it's for the other person, you know, is where that happens. And that would be not cool of him to, or anybody to, you know, try to make peace because that's what he wants at that. It should be about whoever the wrong was done to make peace for them on what they need. So, yep.
Yeah. Good book.
Good book.
Yeah.
And next up, we got another number one.
Yeah. Our last
this one was a surprise when this was announced. Because, you know, I think we have been, you know, people have been wanting our Marines. You know, there had been a Psi Lords that happened up in space, and now we're getting a new little group with these mechs, Armorclads, number one, written by and so this too is the one that was alluded to early on a couple years ago, maybe 2 years now, actually, when David Wall, the editor, this was one of the things that David Wall was really working on. And David really never got to see any of his work come to print. But this was one of the things that he had a big hand into. So I really wanted to give some shout out to David Wall. COVID played a big role into there. And, you know, creator trying to put something together. And looks like Audrey Meeker and Rob Levin, Rob, the executive editor, put something together to have this still come out. So I know we're not getting Final Witness, but at least we're getting David's Armorclads. Written by J.J. O'Connor with Brian Bucoletto, Manuel Garcia on pencils. Inker was Raul Fernandez. Colors Rex Lucas. Letterer Dave Sharp. Covers by Bagas Hutoma. And a variant cover by Marco Masterazzo and Jeremy Roberts, Kiel Nguyen, and Levo. I'm sorry, I'm butchering everybody's name, but you guys rock.
Livio Ramondelli.
So I dig this A cover. I think it really has a cool picture of what you're getting with these characters. But really, to a degree, they're basically working prisoners. Or if I had to summarize to give some people some spoilers of what I believe, you know, it's almost like a little bit of Bad Ideas Tankers with some Dune mining the Pure, you know, mining something in a town, and Super Troopers. It's like if you were to mash, you know, mechs with Dune and Super Troopers, this is what you would get. And RoboCop-ish. I don't know. But yeah, you got some basically kid slaves that are in mech suits. They're mining basically this mineral out of this country, Zanu, and they're
Zaru.
Zaru, and basically they're basically pushed around by other adults in mech suits, and they're on a planet filled with spider scorpion thingies, not the Vine, and they're pretty violent, and they kind of turn on their oppressors and kind of try to run and do their own thing. So
they did remind me a little bit. I'm not trying to get anyone's hopes up, but these spider things did kind of remind me of the old school Valiant spider aliens a little bit. I was like, oh man, like awesome. And I want to say we saw like something kind of similar at the very end of 4001 when New Japan crashed to Earth, and you see all the stuff kind of break out. You see like something that looked kind of like one of those things, like get loose. Not saying it's the first appearance, but I just remember back then we're like, oh, what? That one thing looks like a spider alien too. So, we got one of these things, and this story kind of focuses on. I mean, there's quite a few of these people who are in these like mech suits. I actually want to say power armor, like throw it out to Fallout, but they're in like these suits, for mining and all that. And there's three main people. There's Paris, Sam, and Leela.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, and so they're the three main ones, and it's not a bad book. I mean, like I do feel like it could be a little bit more, like something a little bit more could have stood out with that dialogue a little bit, But as far as like what happened in it, like it was pretty cool, And I love the fact that we got to see more of Manuel Garcia. I had always loved what he did on Bloodshot, and I look at his art and I'm like, man, is it the same guy almost? But like the art's still good. I just think like maybe it was inked a little bit differently back in the 2012, what he was doing. But it seems like there's definitely like a rival group, because the way this issue ended, is like there's some people outside that want to have a word, with the people inside the dome. And, I don't know what the Pure is. I wish I had a better name personally. Like, let's,
They want that pure stuff, man.
Yeah, the pure. The right? Uncut, right?
Uncut, pure. Yep. Straight Colombian. Straight Colombian.
Yeah. Oh man, but I did think I thought it was a good issue. I didn't think it was a great. I don't think it was like a great number one, which I think Valiant normally does, like a really great number one.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't quite there, but it was still good though. And I mean, like, there's that part of me, like, I'm definitely one of those people who's like, what Armorclads? Why not Armorines? Like, come on, let's get those dudes out,
Right.
But it's something totally different, And the thing I did like about this is it is something that's growing the universe. It's not necessarily like,
let's redo Dr. Tomorrow, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a brand new territory set up in this Xenu or Ziru or whatever it was called. We can find the book.
Yeah, Ziru.
This is Xenu. But like it's new territory. And those are the things that I liked about Cylors. That's the things I liked about Eternity. Was getting to see some of these new places, these new locales in the Valiant universe. How important is this going to be in the long run? I don't know. I don't know how big a deal the Armorclads are going to be after this miniseries, But I mean, like, so far, I do like it. I do hope that like the dialogue picks up just a little bit, I mean, just in the sense that like we don't really know a whole lot about these characters and their personalities,
Well, we got that the one who. Spoiler alert, and I have some theories to that. The Sam one, who was the Joker, the one who was talking, the rebellious one.
Yeah.
And then you had the more serious one, let's get the job done, let's get the mission one. I'm kind of the leader, I'm by the book. And then you had, honestly, which was one of the ones that, I don't know if I normally call it out, but you had the female character who was basically quiet and shut up to the side. And, I felt like that wasn't a good justice to her character, because it was kind of like just going with it, just following suit. But yeah, you have one of the characters, the one who's loud, Sam. He's trying to, do his own thing when they're mining, and he gets fallen off. And it's basically like, we don't have time to pick him up. He's going to get crushed. He's going to die. He's going to run out of air. And, we got to get more pure, quit worrying about him, and let's go. And so they kind of let this guy die. I mean, I'm spoiler alerting that, you know, there's going to be like some Total Recall stuff. His eyeballs might pop out, and then he's going to come back and get pissed off at everybody. I just feel like we haven't seen the last of him.
Have you ever seen? Hold on, I have a theory. It's very wild. Have you ever seen the Ninjago movie, Lego Ninjago?
No.
Okay. Well,
I've been on the ride though. I've been on the ride. The ride's cool.
The ride is cool. In the movie, there's a thing where like Garmadon, he's like the main bad guy. Mm-hmm. People that he doesn't agree with for like whatever reason, he just shoots them out of his volcano, right? And at some point in the movie, like in the middle, it's not a huge part, but all the people that he's fired out of his volcano are like teamed up together to like mess with him. I like to think in a sad way that like everybody who's like outside that dome are people that got left to be eaten or like just abandoned in their own way. Like, sorry, we don't agree with what you're doing. See ya.
Right.
But I mean, who knows really what it is? I like the fact that like when the person got abandoned to suffer his fate, when the general or the guy, the leader, the whatever his rank was, that then got attacked by like the spider aliens, they were just like, okay, well, you let one of ours die, well.
Oh darn, we could help you, but we can't.
Yeah.
Like, it was like some quick karma, right? Some quick karma happened within that. So
yeah, I like they're not perfect characters. I like that.
Right.
Like their moral judgments aren't like, great. They kind of see a little bit like eye for an eye. I do like that. Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting in this book, and I don't know if when you read it, is if you read the next, they had the next 4 or 5 pages of the next issue there in black and white with letters and dialogue. And I feel like if you're going to add that, you might as well finish it. You might as well show a complete piece and have it be part of the book, because I felt like it made sense to where it was. It was just, I don't know, that I don't know how much, because I still read it, but I kind of wish that they would have just had it included with the book, period, like if it was part of the first issue.
I didn't look at it. I always try to just stay away from the previews with doing this, where I'm like, okay, I'll come in, I'll read the issue, and I can have the whole experience in like one read versus like, well, I already read these 5 pages, I'll just skip them, right? Which can sometimes happen. So it's like, I gotta take everything in fresh as I can.
Could say it's good. It was like there was no gap in the issue. Really, it was connected directly to it. But really, like I didn't mind this book. I'm wishful on what there can be done with this. It does seem like just a whole prisoner breaking out of a jail again, but a little different, but the same, but a little different. So. Not quite Psylords, but similar.
Yeah, not quite Psylords. I mean, it does kind of feel like its own thing. It gets its own little room to breathe with it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but like I do think there's definitely some potential with it. My score on it's going to be kind of run of the mill. I mean, I'm going to give it like I want to go like maybe a 4, but maybe like a 3.75 on this one. I mean, I do wish that there's a little bit more to the dialogue in this book, but it's kind of a cool like sci-fi book, and not quite the world outside our window, as Valiant is sometimes known as, but maybe another galaxy far away, and I'd like to see kind of how this ties into the larger universe a little bit more too, because I kind of feel like Britannia was like one of those books where like we got it and it was cool, but it didn't really ever really tie into anything, and people were always just like, when's Galad going to show up? Or, something like that, like when are we going to get like Armstrong in the background drinking and whoring, and we never got
this one is, when are we going to tie that into the new EXO coming out? Right.
Yeah.
Coming to this, future planet,
Hey, speaking of that, and I mean, this is a little bit off the beaten subject, but like there's an excellent EXO visual at the very back of this book in the compass points by Pete Woods. And I've met Pete Woods. He's an awesome guy. He did Deadpool many years ago. Mm-hmm. And that image of EXO that he drew is pretty rad. Like, get that guy in the Valiant universe, man. Get him do an arc or something, because he's a very talented artist.
What did you give the score on this?
I think I was like a 3.75.
3.75.
Yeah.
God, I'm very similar to this, right? Because like I feel like it was probably, I think I'll put it right where I put Shadowman, really, because it really is the first issue. It's really going to depend on what the bigger picture looks like with the other issues. So I think I'll be right a little bit below 3.5, which still isn't bad.
Yeah.
But it's just saying like I need to see more. Like I need to see more. I want to see more of it. It was a cool, quick read. It was a quick, fast read, but it was, yeah. I think like this cover gives the A cover kind of gives away a little bit when you see them all in handcuffs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like it gives away a little bit of what not necessarily happened in the first issue, maybe what's happening in the second, right? I feel like they kind of, it's such a cool image. I get why they wanted that to be the A cover, but it looks like it's something that's probably going to be kind of come up in maybe issue number 2.
Yeah, I liked all the covers. They're all great. I didn't get too much of a look at like the 1 in 250. I don't think I've seen one of those yet.
Oh, like it's the middle one that has like the square box that has the pier in it and it's kind of lit up by it. I do remember kind of seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen one yet, but yeah, I liked all the covers. You know, I thought the same thing of Harbinger too, and Shadowman too. You know, obviously, but like all the covers have been looking great, and Armorclads no different. So yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah.
So is there anything else we need to discuss?
Oh man, we'll see what happens more with these, right? We'll come out with more. I'm not sure what's on the table for the coming months or the coming month with Valiant. I do know that we might be seeing a new Shadowman character coming really soon. I think in the next issue or so that we'd want to look at. And if you're a speculator type of thing or a key issue collector, that might be a Shadowman you want to pick up. So
yeah.
I think that Shadowman number 8 may have something that may connect into the Book of Shadows. So this next book's on the 13th, April 13th, might be one to maybe put your hands on.
Was that information from that article?
Yeah, Colin kind of.
I didn't get a chance to read it. My day was just so hectic. I shared it, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna read this." Didn't get to read
it. Yep.
My day just didn't work out that way.
For April 13th, we got Shadowman number 8, Armorclads number 2, April 20th.
That's like next week.
4/20. April 27th, we got Harbinger number 7. And then, man, May 4th. May the 4th be with you with some Archer and Armstrong.
Very awesome. Very awesome.
That's pretty cool. That's what 4 weeks back to back of books. Right, I like that. I like that.
That's a good feeling. That's a reason to go to your shop every week.
That's pretty cool. So, Yep.
Well, are we down to our last order of business?
Last order of business. I believe it's a golden opportunity for Harbinger.
Yeah. So the fine folks at Valiant were like, "Hey, why don't you give somebody a gold book?" We're like, "Okay, we'll do it." And we've kind of had like some shenanigans the last couple of episodes where tried to do it, couldn't do it, had some real life get in the way, like about an hour before, like one of them. I want to say like the last time we were going to do it, I had everything lined up to pick my wife up from the airport early in the day. And then she was like, "Oh no, my flight is 5 hours late and you have to pick me up at 8:00 at night when we do this." So, So then I was like, well, how are we going to do this? Because we've kind of messed it up. So I went off our chat today, and I went off a couple of announcements that we had in our Facebook group. One of them was the actual StreamYard that we had for the original from the last episode, and then another thing that I put in there. So I've got a handful of names for the hats.
For the hat.
So we do it. We're cool. We're not doing these internet. That's all like a pyramid scheme. We do old-fashioned American-made paper with a pencil. So
it's just the best way to do it.
If fate likes you, it will reward you. So, okay, I fumbled these around, and 2 of them are stuck together. Scott Bloom is our winner.
Yes. Congratulations. You are a winner with the gold book. Hopefully you can be a winner in life, right? That's what we're always hoping for. And keep going on, right? So, but this is the first step for many things. It's like landing on the moon. So congratulations. One small step for Scott. One small step for Scott.
So yeah, that's great, you know, and you know, I love doing the giveaways, you know, and I'm currently cleaning out my collection. I actually just sent Scott some stuff like a month ago, which is crazy. So it's certainly favorable. Scott's got some good luck. Take it to the casino, bet it on black. That's all I'm going to tell you. But
boom,
we'll see what else we can do. You know, like I said, I'm trying to clean out my comic book collection. I've got lots of extra books, and we'll see what kind of fun stuff we can do like in the future. You know, I don't mind giving stuff away. I don't mind mailing stuff out. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was fun, and it was great. And there's these new background music things on the show, so it really makes me feel like we're gonna, you know, to divulge some great information or words of wisdom. But you're damn wrong. That's not.
I thought your music was gonna be a little bit slower. I was like, oh man, it's like the slow jams, like Hoosiers about to get romantic after this episode ends.
Only if that's what you want.
I feel like we've accomplished what we were trying to get done.
You know, it happens. It happens, y'all. But nonetheless, it was fun. And we're going to be back in a couple weeks to talk about some more.
We certainly got Valiant with this episode. I'll tell you that, you know.
We got Valiant, right? Yeah. And hopefully you continue to get Valiant. So let us know. Like, subscribe, do that fun jam.
Leave a comment, share it, tell your neighbors, tell everybody you know.
Yeah. Not about the books, but about Get Valiant.
Yep.
That's it.
The books too, if you want.
Yeah.
All right.
Should send out cards and people go put them in the middle of their Valiant books that they at their stores. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Word of mouth works great.
I used to do that at the library back in the early days of the show.
Nice.
I had a flyer, and the flyer would go in every Valiant book. And then
great idea.
And then I had, at the time, I had bought a bunch of stuff from Hastings when they're going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a giant stack of the Hastings variant for Faith, the trade paperback, and I gave those away to people who contacted me.
That's cool.
We did fun giveaways back then, man.
Yeah, we'll get some more.
Yeah,
we'll get some more. So.
All
right. Well, appreciate you all for jumping on. Thanks for joining the chat. And do that Valiant thing. We'll see.
Get Valiant with it.